Fritz Lang's Metropolis was one of the first types of movies of its time. Not many movies before Metropolis focused on the science fiction genre so in depth. Most people would think that Metropolis is just an average silent film that is boring and poorly made. However, because Metropolis was one of the first grand science fiction films ever made and defined the genre of science fiction, Metropolis is one of the most influential and ambitious science fiction films ever made that define the genre of science fiction. This idea is important because science fiction is a popular genre of movies today, and people should know what movie influenced the science fiction films that we have today. Someone might say that aspects of Metropolis are not used in today's science fiction films, and instead today's science fiction films are influenced by other movies. Many other movies influence science fiction movies today, however, those older movies were ultimately influenced by Metropolis. In 1927, when the release of Metropolis was shown to audiences in Germany, the audience was very mixed about how they felt about the film. Metropolis was something like they had never seen before. Not only was the runtime of 2.5 hours too long for many people back in 1927, but the film was very dense and had many plot points and story elements that many audiences could not keep track of and ultimately lost many viewers' attention and enjoyment. The runtime, however, was shortened to 1 hour and 55 minutes in America upon its release due to the criticism of the length during its original release. Though the story of Metropolis had gotten more and more confusing as more of the film was cut out, what makes Metropolis so influential to science fiction films is what is shown on screen, the world that was built and the scenery that had never been created before. The city that was shown in the film blew audiences away with how grand the film seemed to be. The shots that consisted of tall futuristic buildings and landscapes had never been done before in the history of film. Many films prior to Metropolis had many scenes of characters close up in settings that were not shown off. However, Metropolis showed the world what a futuristic city would look like and relied on the spectacle of a futuristic world that was new to all audiences. The world of Metropolis is very dark and harsh to the everyday person living in this society. This made the themes of Metropolis very deep and interesting to the audience to see what their future could possibly look like. This was very different from prior science fiction films before Metropolis. Science fiction films before Metropolis were comedic and made a joke about the fantastic nature of the future and was very lighthearted about the future and the capabilities that people might have in the future. However, Metropolis showed a very dark future, a future where people are treated unfairly by the people in power, and showed the harsh reality that our society might be heading into and turning into. The world of Metropolis shows a future where people do not matter and can be replaced in order to keep the city in order and running. This idea of a futuristic city that is being run over by world workers that have no say in when to stop has been a common idea in many science fiction dystopian films. Film series such as The Hunger Games or The Maze Runner take place in a dystopian future where the rich and powerful seem like a utopia, but to the lower class seems like a dark and harsh living environment where they are treated unfairly. The world of Metropolis is the most influential part about the film and how this influenced the world building of other science fiction films.